Synthetic division with polynomials is almost easier, but there is an exception. You can only do this if your divisor is in the form x plus or minus k. Now, this means you could have x plus 1, x minus 4, x plus 100. K can be any number and it can be plus or minus, but it has to be x. It can't be 2x, it can't be negative x, it can't be x squared. It has to be a linear divisor with a coefficient of 1. So the way synthetic division works is, say I had 4x squared plus 7x minus 9, and I wanted to divide that by x minus 2. Then what you do is you take the coefficients of the divisor, 4, 7, and 9, and you draw the box just like long division, but it's flipped upside down. And we actually take the opposite, the solution, as if we were to set this equal to 0, since that's what we're solving for. So we plug in 2. So not negative 2, but 2, the opposite of our factor, which is our solution. So the first step, and is always the first step, is you drop this 4 down. Then what you're going to do is you are going to multiply the outside two numbers. 2 times 4 is 8. Now the big difference with this is that now instead of subtracting, we are adding down. So when we add down, 7 plus 8 is 15. Then we have 2 times 15, which is 30. And if you add down, you get 39. Now the last number is always going to be our remainder. So that means that our solution is 4x plus 15 plus 39 over x minus 2. Now, the reason why I know it's 4x is because if this is the remainder, then this must be the linear term, this must be the, the 15 is the constant and 4 is the linear term. And then if we had one more going to the left, it would be quadratic and then cubic and so forth. So it's always going to be that way. The other thing you need to ask yourself, like before, is if I'm taking a quadratic and I'm dividing it by a linear, since I'm dividing a degree of 2 by a degree of 1, that means I'm going to have a degree of 1, which is another linear problem, as my solution. Okay, so let's look at the example. 10x to the third minus 2x to the second plus x minus 4 divided by x minus 1. So we have a linear divisor with a coefficient of 1. So we can do synthetic division. So I'm going to take my coefficients of my dividend, 10, negative 2, 1, and negative 4. I'm going to draw my box, and I'm even going to put the remainder box in first. Then I know it's the opposite, or the solution to my divisor as a factor, which is going to be 1. Very first step, drop that 10 down. 1 times 10 is 10. You add it and you get 8. 1 times 8 is 8. Add it and you get 9. 1 times 9 is 9. Add it and you get 5. So since we have a cubic and we divided by a linear, it's going to be 1 less, so it's going to be quadratic, which means this 10 is the start of our quadratic term. 10x squared plus 8x plus 9 plus 5 over x minus 1. The last thing you need to remember is that in synthetic division, we too need placeholders. So if I wanted to take x to the fourth plus 1, and I wanted to divide this by x plus 1, then I need a good amount, like 3 placeholders in my dividend to start. So this is where people get into trouble, because unlike long division, in synthetic division, you're not going to catch your mistakes because you're just dealing with integers, and then you put back in your variables. But with long division, everything must line up, and if it doesn't, something went wrong. So here you really have to know that you need placeholders. So I'm going to have my coefficients, which is 1. Then I'm going to plug in 0 for the cubic term I don't have, 0 for the quadratic term I don't have, 0 for the linear term I don't have, and then another 1 for this 1 right here as my constant. I draw my box with my remainder box, and then the opposite of x plus 1 is negative 1, and now we can start. Drop down the 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. When you add, you get negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. Add it down, you get 1. And again, negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Add it down, you get negative 1. And then negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. When you add that down, you get 2. Since I had a quartic and I'm dividing by linear, my solution is going to be a cubic. So this means that I'm going to have x to the third minus x squared plus x minus 1 plus 2 over my divisor, x plus 1.